Yeah, and sometimes it's just, I don't know, the visibility that makes the elected officials uncomfortable that they're about to, undertake a project that has millions of dollars behind it, even though those millions of dollars, could be guaranteed or could be resting on the balance sheet of us or, people that do this thing in the industry. It's just a very disheartening uh, place to be at the end of that whole process and, not have a really good reason for why not.
Yeah. Yeah. After we've done this deep dive, I don't want your job. Sorry. You guys must be really good at it because it's a difficult thing to do all that work in anticipation for funding and support. And then you get down to the 11th hour, the finish line, whatever analogy you want to use, and then people aren't willing to invest in it. And it's critical. The one thing I love about what I get to do with this podcast, I get to talk to all kinds of sectors in energy. Okay. So a lot of product innovations and policy things and some politicians and, kinds of stuff. I've worked with city and county governments on the program and stuff like that, some utility companies. But what you guys are doing, and I take my hat off to you, it's a very difficult space to be coming into this environment where they're not cash rich. They're not going to make super quick decisions. And you basically still have to approach it as if it was a commercial entity that has all this money. I mean, there's a lot of risk to what you're doing.
It is, and I appreciate you, recognizing that. And I'll just be very balanced here and give you the other side of it. It's also extremely rewarding for us to come in and, go through the cycle and develop a project and sell the thing and, arrange financing for an entity that couldn't do it themselves or didn't have the wherewithal, and then have that project be built out and know that it's fundamentally serving, a bunch of kids in school or,
Yeah,
you know like veterans at the veteran office in the county or whatever
sure.
that is. And there's also this, and I love this part, and I talk about it a lot in the guest lecture circuit at A&M, but there's an environmental side to it all as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Several of the projects I've done or I've seen accounted for, they're big, right? They're multi-millions of dollars and they span cities and counties and school
Yeah.
districts and all that. And it's cool to calculate the carbon reduction or the equivalent amount of trees that, would be planted or not cut down, or the number of cars taken off the road
Right.
by what those projects produce. It's really, really cool.
Well, I'll throw the statistic out. Most people don't realize that of the total power consumption, and because there's so many of them, residences, that's only 35% of the power consumption in the United States. The
Mhm.
other comes from public sector and commercial.
Yeah.
And people don't, when they talk about let's go green, woo, what's your goal? I'm going to go green by 2030. Woo. And then you say, how are you going to get there? And they say, we're going to go green. They don't get that. It's a very complex thing to make an impact, especially in public sector.